This microlearning course is the third of a series of 3 that will show teachers how to use CHAT GPT to scaffold reading instruction by creating different types of questions about a piece of text. These microlearning classes have covered what is CHAT GPT, how to analyze text complexity, how to create leveled text, and how to create different types of questions using CHAT GPT. These microlearning courses will also provide examples to help you master the skills. Today, we will be learning the 4 different types of questions and how to use CHAT GPT as a tool to write questions based on a text. By the end of this microlearning course, you will be able to identify the different types of questions and their purpose, utilize prompts in CHAT GPT to create different types of questions based on a text. In the first 2 sections of this microlearning course, we learned about the history of CHAT GPT, how it works, and the many different ways it can act as a tool to support teachers in their work. Specifically, how to use CHAT GPT to analyze text to identify vocabulary that may give students difficulty, the types of sentence structures used, the structure of a text, background knowledge a reader may need to support their comprehension of the text, and the grade level or lexile level of the text. We also learned how to use CHAT GPT to scaffold the reading level of a text to support struggling readers and readers who are ready for more challenging texts. The benefit of using CHAT GPT to do both is it can be done quickly, helping teachers to free up valuable time. CHAT GPT is truly an innovative tool to help teachers effectively and strategically plan for the varying instructional needs of all their students while spending less time planning than they have in the past. But like all tools, the quality of what you get out of it depends on how you use it. The more specific information you want from CHAT GPT, the more detailed you need to be in your inquiry. Remember, CHAT GPT is ultimately a time-saving tool to support your skill set and knowledge base. It's not a replacement. To access the free version of CHAT GPT to try out the strategies you've learned in this course, please go to chat.openai.com. Before discussing how AI, like CHAT GPT, can generate comprehension questions for texts, let's review the different question types and the skills required to answer them. There are 4 different types of comprehension questions that can be used to assess the understanding of a text: literal, inferential, evaluative, and creative. Literal questions. These questions are based on the explicit information presented in the text and require the reader to recall and repeat details from the text. Some examples of literal questions are: what color are the butterfly's wings? How many times does the caterpillar shed its skin? Inferential questions. These questions require the reader to draw conclusions based on implicit information presented in the text. Some examples of inferential questions are: why do butterflies have bright colors and patterns on their wings? What do you think might happen to plants if butterflies disappeared? Evaluative questions. These questions require the reader to form an opinion or make a judgment based on the information presented in the text. Some examples of evaluative questions are: in your opinion, why are butterflies important to the ecosystem? Do you think that butterflies are more important pollinators than bees? Why or why not? Creative questions. These questions require the reader to use their imagination and think beyond the text to come up with an original idea or perspective. Some examples of creative questions are: if you were a butterfly, where would you fly to and why? Can you think of a new way that butterflies could help the environment? Going back to the text about butterflies that we used earlier. One way to generate questions about the text is to put the text in the chat box and write the command to generate questions based on the text. Your commands can be as simple or detailed as needed. Remember, if you would like the answers included, you need to specify in the command to include the answers. One way to generate questions about the text is to put the text in the chat box and write the command to generate questions based on the text. Your commands can be as simple or detailed as needed. Remember, if you would like the answers included, you need to specify in the command to include the answers. Some literal question prompt examples are: generate some literal questions with answers found in the text about the text. Please provide some questions with answers found in the text about the physical characteristics of a butterfly. Come up with some literal questions that ask for specific details from the text about the habitat of butterflies. Examples of inferential question prompts include: please generate some inferential questions based on the text about roles of butterflies in pollination. Please generate questions that require the reader to make predictions about what might happen if there were no butterflies. Generate inferential questions based on the following text. Some examples of evaluative question prompts are: create evaluative questions based on the following text. Generate evaluative questions that ask the reader to analyze information in the text. Finally, some examples of creative questions prompts are: please generate some creative questions about the following text. Generate some creative questions that ask the reader to think beyond the text and come up with their own theories about butterflies. Things to keep in mind: if you want a specific type of question created, state it in your prompt. Answers to questions will not be given to you unless you ask for the answer in your prompt. If you would like to have multiple choice or fill in the blank type of answers for a question, state exactly what you want in the prompt. Remember, if you don't get exactly what you're looking for from your initial prompt, hit the Edit button on the top right-hand side. Revise your prompt, then hit the green Save and Submit button. A question that requires citing evidence in the answers is one that asks the reader to provide specific details or quotes from the text to support their response. These questions help students to develop their critical thinking and reading comprehension skills, as they are required to go back to the text to find evidence that supports their understanding or opinion. Here are some prompts that can be used to generate questions that require text evidence. Create a constructed response question based on the text that requires the reader to cite evidence in their answers. Create some questions that require the reader to provide quotes or examples from the text to support their answer. Generate some questions that require the reader to refer to specific details from the text to support their opinion or conclusion. Congratulations! This microlearning course has equipped you with necessary skills to use CHAT GPT to address the learning needs of all students by generating different types of questions based on a specific text. In this final microlearning course on how to use CHAT GPT to level texts and create questions, you learned how to create literal, inferential, evaluative, and creative type questions. We hope this series of microlearning courses has been helpful in your continuing professional growth. Future microlearning courses will focus on a brief overview of the science of reading. We hope to see you again soon.